All right. Hey, this is Brian Dunleavy. I'm here with my guy Brendan here. We're going to be talking about trying to fix his weak right miss with his irons. So tell us about your game, Brendan.
Yeah, so kind of with COVID, really got into golf, and like anyone else, I mean, I played a little bit in high school, but didn't take it serious, and then kind of got into it with COVID, and like before I really started working on it, like really dedicating myself to it, I think I probably got down to like an 18. So from like the past 2 years of like working with Brian and working on my swing, I've been able to get down all the way. I finished at a 7.5 this year.
That's good.
It can, I'm a member at a golf club. I play it all the time, Winthrop Golf Club. I think it could be maybe a little inflated, maybe more like a 9, but regardless, I'm seeing the same issues kind of.
Yeah.
You know, where when I go play other courses, it's the same things I need to improve on.
Yeah, okay. So what do you feel like for you is the goal handicap-wise this season?
Honestly, I don't really have like a number really in mind. It definitely just get it as low as possible. I think more like shooting goals would be, I'd love to, be a little bit more consistent. Break 80 on a full 18-hole course is one of my big goals.
Nice.
And
because
then
your course is 9 and
yeah, my course is 9, and then they just switch the tees. Yeah. So my low there is 74, which is great.
It's great.
But it's still like a box you got to check off. And then I'm just competing in the club championship. That's my goal. So not really a handicap number. If I had to throw it out there, maybe a 4 or 5, something around there.
Awesome.
But
and so that miss you have constantly seen, basically the entire time you've played golf, is just that weak right miss. We're talking about the irons today, but you see it sort of through the bag.
Yeah, definitely through the bag, and it's definitely like a lack of face control.
Yeah.
And I'll either push one out right, and it'll be
15 yards short.
Yeah, something it's spinny, or if I'll get I'll get over the top of it sometimes with my irons, and I'll really yank one left when I just it's definitely some face control issues going on.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Let's hit a couple and get some data. Go from there.
Got a 7 iron this time.
Yeah, so hitting 7 iron. That one was okay.
Yeah, that was it's just I would say it's just inconsistency.
Yeah, it's not every time.
It's
right?
not every time. I mean.
Yeah,
I think you got to be hit some decent shots to be down to a 7.
100%. You're not going to hit every shot. Right, it's a miss. It's not a consistent pattern.
That would be the miss. Like, and I've gotten to the point where I can just tell, like, right off the face. Like, I know when it's open. And
let's go 2 or 3 more. You're the shot shape you want to see personally, right? You'd like to see a draw?
Yeah. I like to draw. Definitely.
I'm just going to get a couple different angles here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the big time. Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty consistent too, where like I've worked on my club path so much, where like I think I stay, into out.
Totally.
But it's like I said, it feels like it's a lot of club face control issues.
Yes, and the direction of your swing is fine. It's just that face miss is going to be open.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about it.
Yep.
And so looking at numbers here, what we're seeing is, like you had mentioned, your club path is into out.
Yeah.
So the direction your swing is going, if you don't mind me taking this off you, the direction your swing is going through impact is to the right, which is going to be a more draw type pattern, which is great. But one, I would say you could probably go slightly more into out if our goal is to play a draw.
Yeah.
What I'd want to see is maybe closer to like a 4.0 number with that. But your miss with the face is to leave that club face open in this direction. And so path going right, face staying open to that path.
Yeah.
It's going to start right, goes right. And so what we need to do is try and find a way for us to effectively get our path fractionally more into out, get our face fractionally more closed in relation to that path to help that ball start out to the right and draw back to the left. And so for you, I would say a lot of this starts with setup. Okay. And so I want to talk about how our grip is positioned on that club, and then also how our forearms are positioned as well. And so I'll show the video later, but you tend to get a little bit externally rotated. So you're pointing this left elbow up, which is weakening this left hand grip, sort of in this direction. So his left hand is more similar to this left elbow is pointing out in front of him, and then his right hand gets a little too far on top, where this right elbow is now internally rotated, where his elbow is pointing more behind him. What we're going to see if we can do is we're going to move the grip a little bit stronger, so twisting both hands slightly more to the right. We're going to see if we can get this left elbow pointed more to the target and get his right elbow pointing a little bit more in front of him, so almost like he's giving blood. And so that'll strengthen up the grip a little bit, and it'll change how his shoulders are positioned. It should help that path creep a little bit more into out. And so first, let's just get set up. So set up as you normally would.
It'll probably be like
That's a pretty typical one for you.
probably pretty typical,
Yeah, and so for you, let's actually face the camera here real quick. And so this is typical. What you'll see is, so this crease created by his left thumb and pointer finger is basically straight up to the center of his chest. The inside of his elbow is pointing towards that camera. And the inside of this elbow is pointing almost like towards me. And so what we're going to do, I want you to try and internally rotate that. Nice. Stronger in that grip. So we're going to try and rotate that hand more on top of the club. Beautiful. This side we're going to externally rotate, so I want you to imagine like you're giving blood. Nice. And we're going to place that right hand on there.
Definitely.
Awesome. So you could probably even go a little bit more, honestly. Yeah, totally. I want you to feel like this, you're almost like feeling some tricep there.
I mean, definitely feels way different than my usual grip.
This is something that I want you doing through the bag, honestly. And so if we see this V now created by his left thumb and pointer finger is going more towards his right shoulder, right collarbone, similar with that right hand as well. And now these elbows are positioned in a little bit better spot. All right.
Definitely feel with this arm too, like you said, my tricep. Totally more engaged, like down through the ball.
And that's not to say there aren't great players that play a weaker grip with those forearms set up that way, but they're generally going to have really high levels of hand-eye coordination. They're going to have an extreme amount of bow or flex in that left wrist to square up that face. And you bow it a little bit, but not enough to match up with how weak that grip is. All right, so let's try and hit a couple small ones with that.
Like chips?
Yeah, let's call it 120 yards. I still think you can go more in that left hand.
My left hand.
Awesome. Awesome. So right away, we saw two things happen. One, he was trying to hit at 120, and it actually went 150.
that was not a hard swing, I promise.
And so the smash factor increased, so the amount of energy he's getting into the golf ball has now increased. And then both paths, so this swing path got slightly more into out, which is what I want, and that face path actually closed.
Wow.
Let's see that again. And so with that grip, basically what I want you to do is just make it feel like you're exaggerating literally as much as you can.
Definitely fits.
Nice, great job. Awesome. Little off the toe, that's fine. And so for you, what I want to try and do is we're going to work backwards from overdraw. And so let's change what our miss is. And so when you go outside and you're on the range, or even if you're playing, it's rare that you'll see an overdraw miss. I want you to start seeing it more. Right, and we can always work backwards from that. There's some other things in the swing that I think we can improve on, but at least for right now, just through adjusting this setup and this grip, you should start seeing a different curve show on the ball.
definitely more consistency there. Those 3 swings,
Yeah, totally,
they're
right?
all-
Then you can put a blanket over those 3, that one you really hit. That was our longest carry by far today,
yeah.
which is great. It's mostly due to that smash factor increasing.
It doesn't feel like I'm swinging like that
Yeah,
much harder, honestly.
that looks great there, Brendan.
Chunky,
Yeah, a little chunky. Still the right numbers though.
Yeah.
Let's see it again.
It definitely does feel weird. Something that
Yes,
feels like
totally. You feel more close to the target.
and
Not bad. One thing I want you to try in this next one.
yeah.
So, in your setup,
Yeah.
I would say you tend to have your hips positioned, I'll show here,
Yeah.
a little bit to the right.
Yeah.
It was probably in an attempt to help the face get a little bit more closed back with the old setup. What I want to see if we can do is actually just get the hips just subtly left.
Yeah.
And so you're almost imagining like someone's grabbing this belt loop here,
Okay.
pulling you just an inch to the left.
Okay.
As you do this, you might feel like you get a fraction more shaft lean.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Okay. Set up.
That's still not the grip. You gotta go more, man. There you go. It feels probably very strong.
Feels very strong.
Nice, so let's go hips left. You can go fraction shaft lean if you'd like.
That look good?
That looks good there. Not bad.
Yeah.
And so, what you saw right away on that is if we compare it just to that previous swing.
yeah.
So if we look at our attack angles these past couple after changing the grip. So your attack angle was -2/10. And so attack angle is telling us the direction the club is traveling as it's striking the ball, either more downwards, which is going to be a more negative number, which we need for our irons, or upwards, which is a more positive number, which we'd like to see for our driver. And if you just watch out, you might be blocking that attack angle there. And so the past couple after changing the grip, we're a little too close to 0. And so that club wasn't coming in steeply enough into that golf ball. The low point, so when he's striking the ground, would be too much in line with the golf ball. We want it more ahead. And so just through shifting those hips position and setup, that number got a little bit more negative. And so we're striking the ball first, catching that ground after. That would actually get a little bit thin, which I'm okay with.
Yeah.
But we're still seeing the right path, 4.4, which is great. Face to path is still negative, which is awesome. Let's see it again.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty good.
That felt pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, awesome, Brendan. Best one of the day. So this is the type of shot shape that I want to see hit.
Yeah.
Push draw. We're trying to see that path getting out towards that positive number. We're trying to see that face to path more negative.
Yeah.
That's going to get us where we need to be.
So it sounds like the 2 biggest things are grip and a little bit of a hip bump.
Yeah.
And then that
And so with that grip, it's not just what your hands are doing, right? We're
Yeah.
talking about what these forearms are doing as well.
yeah.
Where, do you mind if I borrow this off you again? So, I'll see players that understand that their grip needs to change. And so they'll try and change their grip without changing this elbow position. It feels really uncomfortable, honestly. And so if you try and, let's say you know your grip is too weak, what you need to try and do is start turning that elbow to the target, which will naturally start getting this hand more on top of the club. And this one, we're going to turn our elbow more out in front of us, which will naturally start getting this hand more under the club. And that's going to put you in a more draw position in that setup. Nice, let's get a little hip. Yeah, awesome. Awesome. That's what I want to see, man. Feels good.
Yeah. Definitely.
It's just nice to see it curve the other way,
Oh, 100%.
right? right? So this is going to make your life much easier if you're consistently throwing the ball in one direction. Or obviously long term, right? If you're trying to get to scratch, and it's nice to know how to hit various shot shapes.
Yeah.
But to have a stock shot that you know is going to curve one direction,
Yeah.
it's going to make golf much easier.
Yep.
Instead of guessing if it's going to go right, left, or straight, you always know it's going to be drawing. You can start aiming for that.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Nice. A little bit of headphone. Really good. Awesome. That's what I want. Little push draw. And so this is our eventual goal, right?
Yeah.
So to have our path a couple degrees into out, having that face just slightly close to path,
Yeah.
but at least for the short term, I don't mind if we see it going the other
Yeah.
way.
No, definitely.
All right, let's go one more and then we'll debrief here. Nice, man. Awesome. Awesome. That was the best one.
Yeah. That felt well struck.
Really, really good. So, talking about a few different things for Brendan, it's always going to start off with his grip and stance. And so let's show the camera how we're doing this. Nice. So we're going to try and feel like we're internally rotating the shoulder, pointing this elbow out towards the target. Much more like a Bryson DeChambeau in this left arm.
Yep.
And then right elbow, you're going to give some blood, feeling like that hand's coming under. Nice. And the final piece, so back before your hips were a little this way.
Yep.
Right? Not this much, this is exaggerated. And so you just need to imagine like someone's just pulling that hip out. Nice.
Like that.
Awesome.
Yeah. I mean, it feels completely different from where we started in the video,
Yeah.
but I mean, you can't. It's tough to argue with TrackMan data.
Yeah, that's right. And so a lot of these things, you can do it too much, right? If you get overly strong in this left hand, overly strong in this right, and too much bump, you might start hitting big hooks, and we want to reduce that a little bit. But
Yeah.
the more of this that we get, the more right to left curvature we'll get, and we can always dial it back. But
Yeah.
at least in the short term, I want to see it going this way.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, brother.
I got some work to do.
Got some work to do. Good work.
Peace.